Thank you very much, Schalk. Well, you know everything about me already right now, so no need to tell my main topic for today. But why I'm very excited to be here today is to talk about data and AI literacy upskilling. Before we go into that, this presentation I would like to actually zoom out. We've seen a lot of very interesting, detailed presentations about analytics projects. But let's zoom out and look at every different part of the organization. We have the data analytics teams, but we have marketing teams, HR teams, supply chain teams. How can we look at organizations holistically? And how can we make them use and have them boost productivity with AI and data? So first, a little bit about DataCamp. Our mission is to democratize data and AI skills for everyone. We do that by offering an online training platform where you can learn how to code, where you can learn Python or SQL from very beginner to more advanced topics like actually LangChain, for example, as our previous speaker just talked. Recently, we also added KNIME to that library, so hence this talk. A little bit about me. I lead our technology alliances, so I had the pleasure to work with Schalk and the team. And with that, let's go into the presentation. First, what is the data and AI literacy era? If you zoom out, again, we've come a long way over the last 30, 40, maybe 50 years. When I was young, I was, I think, 10 years old. I had a class called TipTop. I learned how to type on a keyboard. That was computer literacy. Then in the 2000s, we came to internet or software literacy. How can I effectively browse the internet? How can I find the information I want? How can I book this hotel on the other part of the world? All those things look incredibly normal today. Then we got to data literacy in 2020. So let's zoom out a moment and stick into that area of 2020. First of all, I think by 2020 it was very clear that data generates value. And this is a leadership survey we did together with Data IQ. And actually, what was clear in 2020 already is that investment in data pays off. And that it became kind of a codified practice. You had data teams. So you had data scientists, big data engineers that turned to ML engineers. You had basically whole data teams focused on creating value from that data. And that also created data culture and skills. How do those people collaborate with other parts of the organization, right? How does a marketing specialist use data? Can they understand the graphs they use, and can they take the right decisions based on that? So we had all that, but then suddenly this new kid came on the block that we all know. And actually, what we see today is that a lot of leaders see that generative AI is a top priority. You need to make sure you use it for the right solution, right? There might still be indeed the case, as we learned already today and yesterday, that you don't always have to use a hammer. But a lot of leaders see incredible value in using AI and generative AI. So this brings us to today. Data literacy alone is not good enough anymore. Do you have an organization that can also leverage AI literacy? Let's spend a little bit more time on going into that and actually define those two terms. What is data literacy and what is AI literacy? So let's start with AI literacy. It's basically the ability to understand, utilize, and guide AI systems. To look at this conference, we had, for example, Emilio yesterday, who gave an amazing talk about how you can create workflows and tools and agentic systems in KNIME. But that's not the only use case. Maybe you're a marketing specialist. Imagine you're working for DataCamp and you need to create marketing and write posts about 500 plus courses, but you cannot know the details of all of them. Maybe we just upload all the course descriptions, and there we go. We have a place to start. So suddenly, marketing specialists become much more productive. And that's just one very simple example. Then we have data literacy. It's the ability to read, write, analyze, communicate, and reason with data. What's in this graph? What does it mean for me? Am I including the domains or also the subdomains, as we heard in the talk from Sasha earlier? So having a whole organization that understands how to work with data and with AI is actually considered to be much more productive than organizations that are not. So this actually brings us to a data and AI literacy skill gap. So 57% of these organizations thought that their organization is not data literate enough, their workforce is not equipped enough to work with all these tools. And then 62% of leaders believe that their organization has an AI literacy skill gap. So they do not know how to write a good prompt. They do not know actually what is a prompt, maybe even, and make use of those AI tools. And basically, this here summarizes, if you have these skills, if you work in marketing, but you know some SQL, and you can actually query your database, leaders are willing to pay more for that. They see they have skills that bring added value. And similar on AI. So what is the risk here of not developing those data and AI skills? If you see here, inaccurate decision-making, slow decision-making, decreased productivity, so that's on the data side, and on the AI side, you see a lack of innovation, also decreased productivity, and so forth. But what it all boils down to is decision-making capabilities and innovation capabilities. So it's not just about taking the right decisions, but it's also about making them faster. On AI, it's actually very similar, and it's about innovation. Can you innovate well, but also can you innovate fast enough and keep up to speed? So what this report actually says is that organizations who are not data or AI literate enough and who are not keeping up to date with the recent skills development, they will fall behind. And with that, I would like to hand it over to my colleague, not colleague, sorry, my partner, Schalk, on how we are working together to do that.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, we work so close together, we sometimes feel like colleagues. So the question is then, how does KNIME play a role in this gap that Carl just described for us? And I wanted to quickly answer it from four different perspectives. So the first, taking us back to that timeline. So KNIME has been doing a form of data literacy at least from until at the beginning of 2008 up until now. And we've had different types of courses, online courses, and now we have also partnered with DataCamp to bring really good content to the people in the right way. And of course, with the AI revolution, with the LLMs, as the capabilities came into the product, we've made sure to adjust to that so that we also have more and more AI literacy materials going there. So that's the first historical perspective. Then from a learning design perspective, when we design programs like AI or data literacy courses, we always think about it, first of all, what are things that people just need to know and remember and can list? That's good to know. Maybe a little bit more important is things that they need to understand and explain. But really, really crucial when it comes to data and AI literacy is you need to be able to apply it. And that's where it brings us to the third one. How is the analytics platform actually set up to really help you apply the knowledge that you get in these data and AI literacy programs? Some of these features you already know. I just want to connect some of the dots. So first of all, we know it's open source. That means there's no barrier to access the actual tool to apply this very important knowledge. It means, and we see this a lot in big organizations, you can really scale data and now AI literacy programs because there's no licensing fee involved. It's free to download. For us as a company, it means we can stay innovative, integrate new technologies all the time, and really build on top of that. Secondly, the most obvious one, visual workflows, the barrier of entry and the learning curve to actually get working with data, not just learn about it, but apply that knowledge, is really low. It's a visual workflows, as you all know, if you've seen KNIME, it takes that barrier out. Then beginners can also collaborate with experts. So along this journey, maybe a beginner can start touching what we call classical AI or machine learning, maybe in the form of shared component. So people will start touching more advanced analytics by collaborating with other people. And if they want to, they can continue on this journey within the same platform. And now, as we've seen in the last 2 days, we've seen from Michael's talk with the agents, we saw some demos of integrating data into your data flows, AI into your data flows, and this morning from Sasha with the Kai as well. Now we're bringing those AI features into the product, and that means that the AI literacy, you can now, the knowledge also apply directly into your data work. So these two at the top, I would say, helps with data literacy, really applying the knowledge, and the two at the bottom really enables AI literacy to really start playing a role. Then the last perspective, you've heard this a couple of times this week already, but in terms of the relationship between data literacy and AI literacy, I think KNIME has a very, very unique role to play here. So if we take it from the data literacy side, yes, you can maybe learn how to start working with data, making sense of your data, even communicate your insights, but how do you start to integrate AI into that? This is a problem. On the other side of the coin, you can see people start working with AI, they learn about prompt engineering, maybe in the browser, but the next question is, how do you meaningfully, really, on a big scale, start integrating your data into these prompts? And obviously, all the topics of governance really come into it. So if we make the statement that AI and data and AI literacy, or AI and data literacy is really where things are going, then you need to have a combination of the two. And again, as we know, KNIME is really well positioned to do this because on the one side, you can make sense of your data, as we see, access your data, do some transformation within the workflow. On the other side, you can now integrate AI in your workflow, and the magic happens really when you connect data and AI. So data and AI literacy, you can now apply within the KNIME workflow. And I think this is a really a unique way that KNIME can fill this gap. Again, not learning about things, but actually applying them and getting value, be it in your business or at home, wherever you were using KNIME. So to summarize that, how could this journey then look like? It's not only learning about data or learning how to work with AI, you need to learn to work with data and AI. Gradually, you will learn to start integrating AI into your data flows. We've seen various examples of how this might look like. And if you start building small stuff, eventually you will get to building data-aware agentic systems. So it's kind of how this journey is currently evolving, just to summarize the 4 perspectives. With that, I want to give back to Carl.
Thanks. So basically, one more slide to end, and how do we tie it all together? What we did at DataCamp, we collaborated with Schalk and the KNIME education team to actually build a series of courses on DataCamp. And you need to start somewhere, so we started at the beginning. So basically, we developed a series of courses to prepare learners for the L1 certification. And then also at the end, there is a case study where you actually need to solve a real-world problem, and learners get a real understanding of how basically they can use KNIME to solve problems. And what's maybe interesting, we actually have KNIME in a virtual machine on a platform. So if you have, for example, colleagues or you want some people to get to know KNIME with a very low barrier to entry, they can actually just log into the platform. There are small instructions that basically tell you what to do. And what's very interesting, we teach people how to do A. So maybe we teach them how to do a left join in a small video, but then they actually learn how to do, or they need to do themselves, a right join in the exercise, right? So they're not just copy and pasting what they're seeing in the video, they're actually applying their skills to new data sets and to new problems. And then also as well, we actually offer some functionalities where you can assign this course to hundreds of learners, and you can track who is taking these courses, integrate with LMS, and basically make sure you can upskill your organization on KNIME. And finally, you can do that as well by incorporating your own resources. We would say DataCamp is more as a tool. It does not replace KNIME education, which is much more in-depth and much more advanced, but it can solve as a way to get new people entered into the world of KNIME. And you can just do that by also linking external resources, by creating your own custom environment. Maybe you want to have them solve a problem later with own internal data. So all of that is actually possible to all set up. We happily tell you more about our booth. We're in the partner section if you haven't seen us yet. And with that, I would like to open it up for questions. Thank you very much.